Hello, hello. This is Kristina. Today's new episode of KSM Podcast Growing Business Online with Kristina. And I have my special guest, Helen Micallef. Helen is from Australia. Helen, welcome to the KSM Podcast.
I'm pleased to be here. Thanks a lot, Kristina. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited having you today. And can you tell us a little bit about you? I mentioned that you're from Australia, but can you tell us a little bit who you are and what you do, and a little bit about your background?
Yeah, no problems. Well, as you mentioned, I'm from Australia. I have lived in Melbourne, Australia since I was 5 months old. Did travel back to my home country when I was 9, and I'm from Malta. And yeah, I've pretty much lived here all my life. Started off, of course, with a migrant family, which is always very hard in in a country that didn't have a lot of migrants. But anyway, it was fine. I got through it, and went to school here. We went back to Malta, like I said, when I was 9. We were actually migrating back home, or going back home, and but 9 months later we were back in Australia. So we'd done a little bit of traveling around. And then high school here in Australia, pretty much most of my life. I started in network marketing. I started my first job when I was at for a bank here in Australia. Then I started in network marketing in 1978. That's going to show my age, isn't it? But anyway, that's all right. So I started in 1978. I was with that company for 26 years, and then I sold that business. And I've been very much entrepreneurial from day one. I didn't mind working for people, but I always wanted to work for myself. And so that's why I started with network marketing, because I felt like it gave me the opportunity of getting paid what I felt I was worth, not what someone else determines what my worth is. Then my husband and I started a window cleaning business, and we built that up built that up in part-time hours over about 11 and a half years. And by the time we sold that business, that was in 2010, it was turning over around $350,000 a year, which was not bad for a part-time business. We were very happy with that. And the reason we sold it is that we'd moved into a different area. So the location wasn't going to sort of suit what we needed. Plus there was other personal things going on. And then, dabbled in a few other bits and pieces. I've trained people, taught people how to invest in property, worked on being a life coach, love helping people. And then in 2016 was still working on my own businesses, but nothing really had taken off. And then and then where I am today, where I now call myself a software developer, which every time I say that, I have a bit of a chuckle, because I'm the least technically savvy person that you could probably meet. But as a friend of mine said, Helen, you might not be the developer, but you're the one with the idea. So you are a software developer. I go, okay, I'll call myself a software developer. So so I've developed my own software. So that's
and
great.
this is so amazing, just that. And what I can see here, that you, let's say, the most of your life you were entrepreneur, like have your own business, and you're so experienced in terms to run your own business with your husband before you started your business which you have now. And I know about it, but for listeners who will listen that this podcast with Helen today, they are going to have a chance to hear much more how Helen started with this. And Helen, what triggered you to start your business, what you do now, and what were your challenges in that time before you started your company today, which you run?
So it started in 2016, but I didn't realize it started in 2016. So I'll explain what I mean. So in 2016, I was sort of doing my entrepreneurial things, like trying to work on life coaching and work on other businesses and what have you. And I got sick and tired of the clutter that was on my desk. Like, you've got to remember, 1978, we didn't have the computerization that we had here. So I grew up with things like these sort of things. And I'll just show you customer cards, right, in a box. And so that's what I learnt on, right? That's what all of us used. We used that sort of system where we used that and a diary. And, you know, and that's how you kept in contact with your customers. Anyway, so 2016, that's the systems I was still using, and I knew I needed to upgrade to something more like a CRM, okay? But when I looked at what was out there, it just didn't fit what I needed. They're amazing technology, they're amazing what they can do, but all I wanted was the data collection aspect of what's called a CRM. For those that don't know what a CRM is, customer relationship management, okay? So it's what systems are out there, but what I wanted was just the basic system, and I couldn't find one. So that's when I went, all right, well, maybe I was ready to give up after trying so many free versions, and they weren't, I just got confused, right? And with them all. So I approached a friend of mine and said, Sandy, do you reckon you could help me out? I need to create a system that looks like a card. It has a diary aspect in it where I can set a date, and then I want a today tab that just opens up what I need to do today. He says, yeah, that's easy. I went, okay. So we worked together. 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the track, it was up and running. 2017, I started working for my son-in-law in his window cleaning business. So obviously I had a lot of knowledge in that area, so I was able to help him with that. And he was still using cards. Now, my son-in-law is into Apple everything and technology and everything, right? And so I was really surprised that they were still using cards. And I said to him, why? And he said, I can't find anything simple enough. And he says, I've tried 3. At that time, I think he'd already tried 3 versions, paid for them and everything, and they weren't working. So anyway, I said to him, I said, look, I think my system would work for you. And I said, but we just need to tweak it a bit. So we tweaked it, and he's been using it ever since. Now, in that time, after that was 2016. 2018, I started thinking, I wonder if my system would as a marketable item. But I kept pushing it aside and going, no, I've got too much on. I've got other things going on. And I kept pushing it aside. Anyway, 2020, of course, we all went into lockdown, had lots of time to think. I went through a bit of a health issue at that time too. So I had a lot of time on my hands, right? Because I couldn't work, and, you know, window cleaners weren't allowed to operate. So I didn't have any work left. So with Lee, and anyway, pretty much 2020 started reevaluating what I wanted to do. So then 2021 came up, and I went, all right. So I put everything on hold, and I went, all right, what am I going to do? And the idea popped into my head again. And I went, all right, start looking into it. You know, this is me talking to me. I don't know if anyone else does that, but I do. And so I said to myself, all right, let's just have a look at it. So I started researching on what was needed, what's involved in developing an app, how much does it cost? Because obviously I can't do it myself. So with what you were saying, Kristina, about what difficulties did you have and what did you have to overcome, that was the biggest one, I'd say, is that I had to put my trust in someone, and it was going to cost me money. So, and not understanding that industry as much. All I knew is I had a really good system that worked for me, and it worked for my son-in-law. And I thought, all right, maybe it would work for others. So I found a way. I did my research. I just kept asking. So just went to people that I knew that were tech savvy, said, I want to do this, but I don't know what to do. And they'd say, talk to this person, talk to that person. And that's what I did. I just pretty much went along and talked to different people until I actually found all the answers I needed. And I got a quote on how much it would cost to develop, and it was quite substantial. And I went, all right, so before we invest that sort of money, I need to find out whether I've got a market for it. So I did a survey on friends, family, associates I've met through networking, and I did a survey. And the first questions I asked was, do you know what a CRM was? Do you use one? Why don't you use one? If you do use one, what do you like? What don't you like? Those sort of questions. And it was really interesting when I was doing that, how many people didn't know what a CRM was. And also the ones that were using one would say to me, oh, I'm using one, but I'm probably only using about this much of it. I know I'm paying for all of this other stuff, but I'm only using this much because that's all I need. I went, all right. Or they'd say, I didn't like all the other stuff because it was too hard. Or the people that didn't use one, I said, how come? They looked at it and they said, too complicated, overwhelming, felt like I needed an IT degree, too costly. They were the things that I felt. So I went, oh, that's really interesting. Anyway, further on through my survey, I questioned people on if you could have a really simple system and, you could search for people and group people together. And I basically explained my system to them. I said, would that be of interest to you? And would you find it beneficial? And I was really surprised at the response. 85% of the people I surveyed all said, let me know when you've got it up and running. I'd be very interested in it. So what I felt at that point in time is like I found a pocket of people that weren't being serviced, and my system potentially could help them. So my husband and I decided, okay, well, let's invest the money into it and let's get it up and running. And now I love seeing people subscribe and helping them with getting it going. I offer them a brainstorming session. So that way, then we can sort of really make sure that, they're working with their system well. I've actually got one after this today to do the same thing. Yeah. So that's how it all came about. So 2016, created it for myself. And that was all. It was just going to be my system. Little did I know that I actually created the prototype back then. Aren't I clever?
Yeah, and what is the beauty and what I like in KSM podcast, Growing Business Online, is when my special guest speakers show up, and especially I met you and I know how did you start it, and I'm super excited that you didn't have any kind of develop like software skills, or as you mentioned, cart in the boxes, it was like without technology many years ago and other things. And also that it showed that you're such a great let's say example, but you're such a person who just really step forward and think about how to help yourself and how to help other people to do CRM customer relationship management and how to simplify things. And this is and your business and you as a person who does this is so impressive, is so great, because this is going to be, and I think that our listeners will be impacted by what you do in terms of the day. If someone who has got a business idea and no knowledge before, like in background, they don't need to move forward and don't give up. And so congratulations on your decision to move forward, and also we all have a support of our family as well, as you had with your husband and your family. And this is really amazing, and I really love what you do. And can you tell us a little bit about your how do you work with people? How entrepreneurs, you work online mostly on international market? I mean, just can you tell us a little bit about that part and name of your company?
Okay. So the name of the company is called Keep Connected, and that actually was my developer's choice of words. Tell you, trying to name a business is so hard because I was really taking so much time with trying to work out what to name it. And he came up with the word Keep Connected. I said, yeah, that sounds good. But I kept looking. And then I just went, oh my goodness. I said, listen, if you can call a CRM Monday, or if you can call a software, an accounting package zero. I said, keep connected. It's just a word. The only difference between my system and any of the other CRM systems that are out there is that they're just a little bit more well-known than I am. But hopefully mine will get more well-known as years go by. So it doesn't really matter. Sorry, I was telling you about the name and now I've lost track of what I was going to say.
No,
So
I asked about how do you work with clients, how clients
right,
can connect with you, and do you have any specific market, for example, from your experience, who mostly use, who are your clients the most, who is your either ideal client or target market or ideal audience?
Yeah. So look, I do work mainly online. Obviously, I'm in Melbourne. So if people are in Melbourne, I don't mind catching up with them. They come here or I go to their place or whatever and support them in that way. But I think because of COVID, online has become so much more acceptable these days than before. So even people in Melbourne, if we live a distance away, it's easy because I don't have to spend an hour driving there or an hour driving back and vice versa for them. So mainly online. Most of my subscribers so far are, of course, in Melbourne or Australia. However, I do have international subscribers now, so I'm really excited. So we've gone global. So that's exciting. And the type of people that use it, it's not actually a specific industry. It's more like a group of people that want simplicity, don't want complication. They're probably people that are already using a system of some sort, manual, or maybe even spreadsheets, and know that they need to upgrade to something a little bit more advanced, but don't want all the bells and whistles. And what I mean by that is that when I really look at what a CRM is, and if you take a CRM and pull it right back to absolutely the bare bones, forget everything else, forget the funnels, forget the email functions, forget all of that. What really is a CRM is the fact that it is a data collection area. It is a central file. It is where you put all the details about your customers. It is where it's actually like a phone book, right? Or a contact book, right? Like your contact app, but with more. You can actually add your last phone notes. You can add when you connected with them. You can write down when you did a podcast with them. You can actually put the link of the podcast in their particular area, right? With their name next to it and everything else like that. You can set a date of when you want to follow it up. So that to me is what the foundation is of this system, of any system. Any system that's out there, if you don't have that, and that's the foundation, the rest of it doesn't work. And my plan has always been to keep things really basic and simple because that's what I like. And then when I'm ready on my terms, I go, all right, geez, I'd love to be able to connect up to MailChimp. Great. Now we can plug in. Now we can plug into this system. Now we can plug into that system, but on your terms. So if that takes a month, 2 months, 2 years, at least it's on your terms, not it's all thrown at you as, here it is, go for it. And you go, I'm dying, I don't know how to use it, And so that's so it's really a demographic of people that want simplicity, and also could even come down to they don't have a lot of money. They don't. The cost of it is prohibitive. A lot of systems out there. I know when I did a bit of research, there's some that are similar pricing to me, but the one was $250 a year, and I went, oh, that's not bad. $249, I think it was, but it was only allowed you 1,000 contacts. And then as soon as you hit 1,000, then you've got to upgrade to something else. And there's other systems. I think there was a system that was around 500 or 449 or something like that. And it had unlimited, what was it? Unlimited users. That's right. Unlimited users. But they, the restriction was you could only have 500 contacts. So straight away you're paying more.
And by the, when you are mentioning now about number of contacts, how many contacts people can include in that software? You know, do you have a?
In mind?
Yes,
at the moment, we've got it as unlimited. You know, I mean, obviously, if we've got if a larger organization was to use it, which look, they've got usually an IT department, right? Large organizations have IT people that can actually simplify a system for them and then roll it out to the rest of their staff. I suppose really my demographic is small to medium-sized businesses where they're like maybe a business owner, an entrepreneur, a network marketer. There are one person or maybe a small group of people working for them, maybe up to 10 or 20 people. But they're doing it all themselves. They don't have an IT department, so they just need something simple. So if we ended up though with a big organization that had tens of thousands of contacts, obviously then we would have to negotiate something with them. But for most people that are on there, we've got unlimited. So yeah,
that's really nice. And the aim and the focus of KSM podcast is to help entrepreneurs to move their business on global level, because you know my idea was to interview people, host them, and I would love that people and listeners will listen and hear about your keep connected. Is it correct? And just to connect with you, because just to start using, and I really love to spread the word and to move forward or all around the globe for people, entrepreneurs who are in business, who wanted to start business, who wanted to do transition from offline to in online space or in offline as well. They can, I think that they could use it, but the most focus is in what you wanted to do is online space. And how entrepreneur can start, let's say, do you have some kind trial version or that people can use it, start, and you train them how to use the software before they start subscribing for and be your client and stuff?
I don't actually have a free version, but I'm happy to do a demonstration and answer questions. On my website, there is a video, an overview video of the system. And I usually find that most people, when they watch that, they really get the idea of what it can do. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. The only thing that I find is when they've watched the video, they might have questions that are relevant to their business. And that's when I say to them, jot those questions down. And that way then I can, we'll jump on a Zoom and then I can answer those specific questions for you. And I find at that point, that's when people go, yep, that's no problems. I mean, look, I've got options of people signing up on an annual basis or a monthly. Look, like the starting off is $22 Australian per month. So like I've got one lady who's trialing it just for $22, right? And if she doesn't like it, she'll end the subscription at the end of the month, and anything she's done, she can export the information easily. We're not in the business of making it hard on people in any way, shape or form, and any future developments actually are going to be done with that in mind. Simplicity, uncomplicated, keep it simple. So
that's really nice. Because it's keep it simple, and price is so popular, how I can say, because it's so acceptable for many individuals, coaches, whoever may be small business owners. You know, that's really nice.
Like if I look at the people that have signed up, so I've got such a variety. Obviously, I've got my window cleaners and service industries. I've got beautician. I've got an insurance broker. I've got a counselor. a cake decorator, you know, like they come from all over. So it's not even like it's not a specific industry at all, because I like the simplicity of it. They like look, and I usually say to people, look, if you can think of it like this, if you can think of it as a card, that's what it looks like. It's got just like that. It almost has that same feel. And I said, so if you can get that idea and that you're setting a date and a today tab, it's really simple to use, but I'm there as a backup and support. So in my back office, there are lots of videos and, you know, but sometimes people just need that little bit of extra hand holding, and I'm happy to be there, you know, just to make it easy and also to make sure that they're using it correctly. So I usually get them started and then we jump on another Zoom if they need it. Yeah.
Yes, that's really nice. And Helen, I asked you many questions and we spoke about your business, which is so amazing. And how did you start without knowledge about softwaring, about, you know, technology, let's say. But do you have any message for our listeners who will listen KSM podcast today, this episode, if they wanted to start business, what they need just to move forward or just?
Look, this is I suppose my motto is, if you never give it a go, how will you ever know what's going to happen? And I don't want to get to the point where I go, I wish I had tried. I wish I had given it a go. I wish I had, you know, gone to some place or visited someone or whatever. You know, if you don't try, you know, I'm very much the sort of person, I'll try and I'll keep going. There will come a time where I know I've just got to stop, but at least I've given it a go. And if I look back on my years, and I'm sure my family sometimes roll their eyes at the number of things I've tried in my past and everything, but at least I've tried. At least I've given it a go. I've had, you know, many experiences. Some are good, some aren't good, but okay, it was my choice. And even the bad experiences, I've always learnt something from them. So you can never fail if you're always learning something. Obviously, you don't want to keep failing, but, you know, you can always learn from your failures as well. And I suppose looking at it from the perspective of technology, whether it be my CRM or any system that you might be looking at, my advice to any new business owner is don't wait till you need it to get it, but when you get to the point that you need it, you're already overwhelmed, you're already busy, you're already got so much on. And if you're going to try and learn a new system at that point in time, it's only going to add to all that stress that you're already going through. So you're better off learning a system when you're fresh, new, and it just becomes then a part of your system and part of your day-to-day, and you don't have to really worry about it anymore. So that's my advice. Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And as my, you know, I always just wanted to share with my listeners and in podcast, just try, never give up. If you fail, you will learn much more, because if you don't try, you have never know how it's going to be. And my motto is be persistent, be consistent, be successful. Helen, can you share with us your information, how listeners could connect with you listening, and all the details I will put below this podcast, your contact info, but just share with us for listeners who will listen to this podcast.
Yeah, no problems. So obviously my website is Keep Connected, one word, KEEPCONNECTED.com.au, keepconnected.com.au. You can always contact me on by email, info@keepconnected.com.au. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook. So I'm happy to be connected with people. If you just let me know that you've, you know, maybe send me a message if you're going to do a private message or something, or connect up on Facebook. and send me a private message, or the same with LinkedIn. Just say that, you heard my KSM podcast, and, that way then I know where it's coming from, and I'm happy to connect with anyone. And also on my Facebook page, on my website, there is a contact form on there as well. So there's many ways you can actually contact me. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice, Helen. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure having you today as my special guest speaker, and I'm super excited with your story and what you have done and what you will do in the future.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to your audience, and would love to connect up with anyone, and and keep in contact with you as well. We'll keep connected.
Yes, keep connected. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.